A few things to note. We have the Q&A feature for Zoom webinars open. So any questions, toss them in there. Feel free to chat in the chat, but we'll be looking mostly at the Q&A for questions to answer. At the end of the talk, we'll have like a Q&A and demo for a few of the features we've talked about. And a very exciting thing is we had a release yesterday. So if you are a current customer of TestFit, go check it out. It's great. We have some, let's see, Jack, what were some of the things we released yesterday that were exciting?
So many things, Nat. I mean, windrows, improved circulation logic, more functionality for blocks, for that sort of thing. So yeah, a lot of great stuff.
Some great bug fixes. Yeah, so all good stuff. All right, I feel like that's enough time, and we're going to start rolling. So welcome to the 2025 year in review of TestFit. This is an amazing time of year where we at TestFit get to look and see and talk about all the cool things we built this year. So I have a wonderful collection of coworkers here. So we'll each introduce ourselves. My name is Nat MacDonald. I'm the Director of Product at TestFit. I work with customers and the engineering team to help design the software that we ship out to you. So making sure that the features we're building are valuable for you as customers. So that's me. So Laura, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Laura Sports. I'm a customer success manager here at TestFit, and I help lead the onboarding process for new customers. So just launching TestFit and learning the application, help with different sessions from one-on-one sessions all the way to closed office hour sessions. And I also have the privilege with working with the product team with output capabilities.
Hey, Jack George here. It's like yours with the J. I'm on the new market side, which is sales, research, working with product and Laura and everyone else to keep TestFit up and going, and excited to be here with you guys today.
I'm Michelle Warren. I'm the product designer. So the user experience interface and look and feel of the product are all my responsibility.
It's a big one. All right. So just to go over kind of what we're talking about, we'll go over what TestFit is really briefly. I think most of the people here, most people attending this are great customers. Some of you have been around for almost a decade at this point. And but for anyone new, we'll talk about that. We'll go through all the product updates from the past year. There's a lot of them. So in the chat, we'll try to put in links to certain things that we think are, you could dive a little deeper on. We'll then talk about kind of what's in the roadmap coming up for next year, 2026. And we'll have a Q&A and a demo of some of the bigger things that we released. So let's get started. So what is TestFit? If you haven't heard of us, we are a feasibility design tool. We take a site and within 20 milliseconds or so, give you an output of a building. So high density apartments, garden, low density, industrial and data centers, retail and mixed use. We also calculate all of the parking and your parking ratio for that. It's real time. It links into a pro forma. You can iterate really quickly so that instead of waiting 2 weeks for a feasibility study, you can get it in a few minutes. We also have QTO and costing features to make sure what you're building is will work with your costing and pro forma. The really exciting thing about TestFit is how much it's been adopted in the industry. So we have over 32,000 users in TestFit this year that evaluated over 90,000 deals. We have a bunch of other statistics there, 13.5 million parking stalls. That's a lot of parking stalls that you did not have to count. You did not have to design yourself. TestFit did that for you. So we're very proud. As much as we dislike parking at times, we're also pretty proud at that number. Over 9.6 million dwelling units. That's pretty amazing. And a lot of industrial, a lot of massing, and a lot of data centers, which is kind of one of our new markets. So we're excited to see so much of that built out. So Jack, do you want to start us off with site analysis?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're getting into TestFit, a lot of what we automate in the beginning too is bringing in data sources to help you get up and running. One of the things we've had for a while is parcels for all of the United States. So our North American friends can go in and click a site and automatically define it. Now our friends in Canada can get more accurate site selection because we've expanded that data source into Canada. So very simple to click and go. You also have the opportunity to draw things in manually or type in your meets and bounds. Along with that is utility data. So like Nat mentioned, data centers is one of our newer markets, but also when we're looking at large scale, single family, garden style, that sort of thing, and you're going out more into a suburban or rural area, these large utilities can get in the way. So we integrated with a data source that is global, that pulls in major transmission lines for your electricity, major pipelines for water, gas, natural gas, any of those types of things, to help you identify, issues on the site as quickly as possible. You can then go ahead and put in an easement, or decide if you really want to move it depending on your site. One of the other things that we've added is parking requirements. So we've had zoning data in TestFit for a while now. Part of that resource has now included parking requirements for certain jurisdictions across the country. That is both for the US and Canada. Now you can go ahead and, like Nat said, as you're going through and deciding how much parking goes on the site, you can also look at your requirements and see, which is more stringent there, and solve with that live. Part of the underlays that we bring in for TestFit, it now includes Google Maps imagery. We have a couple others from Mapbox and Esri. Depending on where you're at in the world, one's going to be better than the other, or one's going to be a little bit cleaner, or just better for exporting and reporting on it. So awesome to be able to offer all three of those now in TestFit. We've had cut and fill for a while, but something that we have gotten even more intelligent about is our auto-sloping parcels and townhomes. So when you're starting to look at some of these more infill sites for those townhomes, for an example that you're seeing in that GIF or GIF, depending on your persuasion, I don't know if we decided on that as a group. But when you're in there, you can then now see we're starting to intelligently stack those buildings along that slope to cut down on the amount of cut and fill that you have on the site. Allows you to move a lot faster with those numbers and get your costing a little bit closer to reality. Same thing, cut and fill for retention ponds. We've had both for a while, but now marrying those together, being able to get you a more accurate description of how much cut and fill are going to be required for your retention ponds, and using that cut to inform the fill for the rest of the site as well, so you can start to help balance your site. You have full control over the retention pond's depth and angle of approach down into the earth.
All right. Those are some great site analysis features. All right, on to parking and circulation. One of the longer weighted features that we worked on was angled parking in TestFit. So it's particularly useful for retail centers, mixed-use developments, and smaller sites where you really need to be as efficient as possible with your parking stalls. So you will angle the parking just to get that much more out of it. It is particularly powerful with generative design, one of the more powerful features in TestFit, where it will optimize the angle to find the angle that allows you to place the most parking stalls. Anchored parking, we found that a lot of retailers were asking for anchored parking, where they will align the drive aisles perpendicular to the anchor entrance. This is particularly useful for retail shopping centers, where you want to direct that traffic from the parking into the big anchor tenant, like a big box store or a grocery store. So that's as simple as selecting what that front of your building is, and then all your parking responds to that instantly. In the bottom left, we have detailed roads with drive networks. So this is especially useful for large developments where you need different road types. And basically what this allows you to do is set 3 different road types within your development to have different number of lanes or widths, and really customize that development. The last thing we have on here in the bottom right is a smarter circulation logic. I believe Jack will be demoing this at the end. We had in this GIF, it shows industrial buildings, but this really applies to the majority of our configurators, anything that has a drive aisle. And that will really allow you to maximize the density on the site. And Jack will show this off, but there was basically 3 different versions of that layout that allows you to kind of take into account the context of the site. Like if there's a public road going around the site, you don't want to place another road around that. Okay, and I think we have some questions coming in. Why text stuff? Okay, cool. And we can get to that. It seems like some of this isn't necessarily related to this right now, but we promise we'll get to it at the end. All right, next. This is me again. Okay, so generative design. We launched generative design in 2024, and it's become one of the fastest ways to explore options in TestFit and find the most optimum cells the fastest. So instead of selecting a single preset, changing a few parameters to find, you think, oh, if I change this drive aisle width, I should get a larger, more optimum site. Now GD will do that for you, or sorry, generative design. So on the left here, what we're saying is, or what we're showing is the ability to vary parameters within a range. So we have a unit depth of 16 feet to 28 feet, and then generative design will give you a long list of solves and sort them and filter them to find the thing that works best for you. We also wanted to make it faster to navigate through generative design as well as other parameter lists, so we gave you the ability to search parameters. All right, back to Jack.
We love retail. For those who don't know, I have background in retail. It's one of my favorite asset classes. And we've been pushing a lot more out for retail developers within TestFit. One of the biggest things we've done this year is add a lot of functionality for drive-throughs. One of them is just the drive-through automation itself. I believe we're the first tool to kind of get in there and start to automate the layout of drive-throughs. You're seeing that on the left-hand side. It's just a tight wrapped one. You can have 2 different options. Simple, which what you're seeing on the left, which is full lane all the way through. Single, double, triple lane will tabulate where your ordering window is back to the beginning to get you the stacking count. Then the other thing that we launched is on the right-hand side is a more visual, what we call like expert mode or advanced drive-through, where you can start to have control over different sections of that drive-through, basically saying, hey, I want 2 lanes entering, opening up into 3 lanes of ordering, down to 2 lanes of travel, and 1 for exiting. Nice little navigation pane to kind of build those for you. You can then make determinations on your buffer width, that sort of thing. So more to come with retail as well, but very excited to kind of get these out there and have some drive-through folks already building with it, which is great.
Nice. So we released a lot for multifamily this year. We gave you more customization around unit mixes within a building. So sometimes you might want a different floor plan on different floors of a multifamily building. You can now use those multiple unit mixes in a single building. For podiums or penthouses, you really get a lot of flexibility there. So that's the GIF in the top left. The GIF in the middle and on the right is showing off our core, what we're calling TestFit blocks. This has 2 different variations that's shown in the left GIF. So you have a core-based block or a corridor-based block. These are particularly useful for European style developments, as well as some trending in the US where you can have a single stair or you base a development around these blocks of building. On the right, you can kind of see the longer workflow of it, where you basically determine the maximum area of a block, so 10,000 square feet for one floor. It will size that block and then allow you to kind of manipulate those in the site, as well as pull in daylight exposure to so we can pull in daylight exposure and then optimize those building heights. So buildings in the back that would normally get shadowed will be taller than the buildings in the front. Back to you, Jack.
Thanks, Steph. Industrial and data centers. So industrial has been one of our longer term solvers essentially in TestFit. We've done a big update on it this year. Now you can create a full library of different prototype buildings to match your exact standard. So you've always been able to craft prototypical buildings, but then we're really focusing on allowing a mix of those now. Basically saying like, hey, I want a single docked building and then a cross docked building on the same site, but I have ranges for both of them. Now TestFit will allow you to, one, create those standards, but then also solve with them on your site. That is also a functionality that we added to our data center solver as well. Part of that includes data hall components and adding auxiliary uses to the buildings. So you're seeing in that top right image, you've got your blue data halls, and then the grays could be like a yard or electrical bay, and then the top could be admin or office or mechanical or whatever it may be. So you can start to add those auxiliary uses to make sure that you're accounting for the right amount of space across the entire site. So being able to add those in, and now with the building editor, add a lot more complexity to those. I've seen some truly wild buildings already being built within there. So very excited to kind of see that take off over 2026. Part of this improvement, including the circulation that Nat mentioned above, is adding more regulation to our circulation. Didn't mean to rhyme there. But basically adding in fire road hose length. So it's something that we've always thought about at TestFit, and one of our engineers came up with a really brilliant idea on how this can work. So now when you start to add this parameter into TestFit, we check your solve essentially to make sure that you have enough, or you're not too far away from a road for that fire hose length. If you are, then we start to populate more roads in there to make sure that we can get access to the entire building. Fire safety is very important, especially for industrial and data centers. So want to make sure that we have that in there for everybody. And the last one over on the right-hand side is windrows direction. Like Nat and I kind of talked about in the beginning, if you were here, we launched this yesterday. So very excited about that. We bring it in with NASA data to get you historical predominant wind at the location of your site. And then you can orient your buildings based on that. So that's super important for data centers, making sure that we don't essentially cook our cooling towers with our mechanical exhaust. And then even for other developments, wanting to make sure that we are not creating wind tunnels and that sort of thing as well too. So there's a couple different ways you can do it, but very excited to kind of add that in the software now for you to use.
So this year we've been focusing on making TestFit easier, more intuitive to use. We've made a lot of improvements in this regard. So here's a few. First, we have a new site locking experience. So now you can see everything in data maps and Urban Planner before you select a site. So this means you can browse all your site constraints, test with massing, preview generative design presets before you commit to selecting a site. And then during site creation in TestFit, you can now search for your location by inputting your assessor parcel number. So you can quickly pinpoint your exact parcels. So this just makes site selection faster, more accurate, super quick. You can also now copy and paste sites, layers, and regions. You can do this between sites. You can also do it across files, which is particularly useful so you can avoid repetitive work, speed up your workflow for large-scale master plans. You can further streamline your work by using the classic keyboard shortcuts Control C, Control V, all the faves. You can now define your building setbacks separately from landscape setbacks. So this gives you more control over buildable envelopes and your open space requirements. You can place trees automatically, and then we added the ability to adjust the density and scales of the trees in your site. And then lastly, we implemented autosave and version history for your deals. So as you work on your deal, we can autosave for you so you avoid losing your work. And then in the web, you can view a timeline of changes made by your team. You can see who worked on it and when. You can easily revert to previous versions if you'd like.
Amazing. Lots of good stuff there. Laura S., want to share what we've been working on the web?
Absolutely. So we're really excited about increasing the functionality in the web. And some of the tools that we've released this year include the automatic quantity takeoff, deal editing, and reports. So with quantity takeoffs, we've really kind of collapsed the decision-making timeline and the ability to make sure a deal is financially feasible based upon cost and budget estimates. So you can get to the go or no-go decision quickly instead of waiting to maybe having DDs or CDs, so design documents or construction documents. So the quantity takeoff allows you to conceptually have high level or even detailed level estimates where you can determine if you want to push up all-in cost or a specific itemized basis type cost like a unit cost to a cost model and assign a cost type like a land, hard, soft, contingency, or even a custom cost to that cost model. Further, once you have developed that database of quantity takeoffs or cost model, you can further export that to CSV for further analysis. So it's highly functional. And what's really important is that it is live data with the feasibility model. So you're not redundant with efforts, kind of conveying information in multiple locations. You're really getting all of that information in one location. The deal editing functionality is a web editor where you can open deals and edit deals. So it's really making that editing process faster and allowing you to edit your model from anywhere. And then we have another exciting feature, which is reports. So it's really closing the loop on the feasibility process where you can start a deal with the application, but then you can review and even share an analysis within the same application in the web. So reports allows you to either use a default template or customize the template as far as customize and curate the existing default template to curate it with data outputs. So we have deal stat cards, which again are linked to live data outputs from the application. We also have released live views or dynamic views, which essentially act as a viewport where you could edit views from 3D views to 2D plan views. You can also compare schemes and really allowing you to kind of customize your report to show the information you want to show and then share it with stakeholders, whether it be for a presentation purpose, sharing a link, or downloading a PDF and sharing that via email. So a lot more functionality that we're excited to have at our customers' fingertips.
Yeah, all this stuff is really great, Laura. And we'll after in a few minutes we'll demo the reports functionality because we are very excited about that. So what's next? TestFit is absolutely driven by customer feedback. We love it when you guys say, this thing is amazing, and what if it could do this? I think Ted in the Q&A actually asked, TestFit's amazing at feasibility. What about searching for a site? All these things are like that, and a lot of feedback is all valid, and we basically just have to kind of choose on what we work on. So that's totally a possibility. If you have any strong feelings on that, Ted, or anyone else about a site search tool, please reach out to us. We would love to hear about that. But in terms of kind of what we have in the plan right now, TestFit is turning 10 come April. So we're going to work on a lot of really exciting things. one thing that we want to expand on is our pro forma capability. So I think we understand from as real estate developers, a lot of you have your Excel spreadsheet. It works. You trust it. You can always go back to that and know that the numbers you put in, that's going to be what you base your decision on a deal for. We want to be able to kind of bring that into TestFit. We want you to link your TestFit data into your pro forma and do whatever calculations you want, all while updating in real time from the TestFit model. So we're very excited about that pro forma work. Jack has been doing some fantastic work around retail. So we're looking at a retail building editor library and automatic placement of retail buildings so that as a brand or a developer of certain brands, you can easily place prototypical buildings on a site and get a real retail feasibility fast. The next thing is low density improvements. So we've seen a lot of adoption of our low density configurators. We want to improve this more to basically allow you to have things like cul-de-sacs, more optimized road networks, and really be able to tweak how connected you want those networks to be, as well as making those parcels very flexible. So generative design has been incredibly popular, and we're finding that we're really able to get a very optimal solve for users using generative design. So we're improving the functionality of that, as well as improving kind of the transparency around what we're actually varying to get you those solves. So we're very excited about that. Now onto the exciting part of demoing some of this stuff. I know some people have been asking questions in the Q&A, and a few of those have been answered. How about people can feel free to toss more in there. But Laura or Jack, do you want to kick us off with a demo?
Go, Laura, go.
Sounds good. I'll go ahead and share my screen. All right, can you all see my screen? Excellent. All right. So when you launch a deal on the web or open a deal in your browser, you do have the ability to navigate to reports. And we've just launched default reports. So we've got a default 3-pager, a blank page, and an auto-gen report. So this just shows you how you can get started with customizing a report in the cloud. So you can start to curate this default by even adding subsections and sheets. So imagine you've got some market comps you want to include or comparisons you want to include in the analysis. You could just create a new section here and maybe list the name of the deal. So you can say South Congress. So you can add custom named sheets. In addition to that, you'll notice that these views are essentially viewports. So they launch with the default template, but we can also make edits to the view within that viewport. And once we have a nice view that we want, we can go ahead and save that. So we get the opportunity to really curate what you show to your stakeholders and how you're making that analysis. So this is just an example of a deal that's proposed using those live deal stat cards that are reporting those data outputs from the model. And then this is just an example of how you can use those outputs as a scheme comparison between the different schemes. So you can really start to kind of curate what you show and how you use your decision-making process of how you determine what deal to go with, or if you do not decide to go with the deal. And down here, just note you do have the ability to share a link to the deal or download the deal now. Here. And just a highlight, just a little teaser here that we are moving towards custom templates. So right now we do have default, but this functionality will continue to increase and become more customizable.
And Laura, what's the easiest way for someone to share that report with someone?
Absolutely. So you can share the deal here, either type in an address or just share the link and copy that link and then either email it or text it. You can to share that link that way.
Awesome. Thanks for showing that off.
Absolutely.
Jack, you want to show off some of the circulation improvements we have in industrial, townhomes, low density garden, that kind of thing?
Absolutely. All right. So this is our standard circulation that we've had in TestFit for a while. Essentially, this looks at having an internal circulation road, basically having a ring road that goes around to make sure that we have the ability to traverse the entire site. And then we start to connect it in between. Now we have a couple of different options, like Matt mentioned, to be able to switch this into perimeter. This is super helpful if you want to have just a fully external ring road with no housing or any sort of massing between that and your parcel edge, and then have all your buildings internal. The other option, like Matt kind of mentioned, is, especially on something like this, where you have maybe a road that comes all the way around your site. So for some of those infill sites, we can then switch to an external road. And that basically just looks at creating drives all the way through. This is a large site for this, but essentially having outside of your site, or external, if you will, circulation in there. So now you can switch between all of those. You can also have TestFit run those with the different variations in generative design. So you can try and see the maximum density that you can get across the board, depending on those different sites. The fun part is this works for nearly all of our different configurators. So townhomes, it'll also work for our gardens. So if I come up here and just go into garden real quick, it'll work here as well to switch between all of those different types of circulation patterns. And then even at our larger scale, let me just switch into another scheme here real quick. It works for our industrial data center folks as well too. So this would be looking at like a perimeter drive where you have that maybe security road going around the site, so you can maximize the internal space for your site. Or you can then switch it back to internal, have some different configurations there, or look at external as well too. So a lot of different variations that we can do within the software now for circulation.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Laura S. and Jack, for those demos. That was really cool to see. I don't think we have any more questions, so we just want to thank you all for the people listening that are customers. Thank you so much for being customers. If you are not a customer, please reach out. We want to show you how TestFit can help you develop more deals. So it's been a great year with all of you. Thank you so much for the great questions in the chat. Feel free to reach out to us via email, and also check out some of those blog posts that we put in the chat. Again, this will be recorded and we'll send it out. So thank you, everyone, and have a great day.